So I wanted to pop on here quick while I'm hiding in the van for a minute. Did you guys ever wonder why it feels so icky to remain in a situation where you don't have a voice, where you feel like you have to be under someone else's rules, somebody else's control? A lot of us, instantly want to blame ourselves that we aren't respecting the situation, the people within it, blah, blah, blah. We want to come up with excuses to justify why people want to be authoritative over top of our free will. I used to just always shake my head. I'd hear, well, my house, my rules, right? And these grown-up kids would move back home with their parents, and even if they're paying rent and paying for food, they still feel like they have to act like small children and listen to their parents and do everything they say. I mean, even my kids have more free will than that, which is probably why we struggle to live under anyone else's roof, because I don't make my kids comply like cattle. I don't want to be a Nazi. I give them choices and I encourage them to make better ones, but my belief is that my example is what's really going to demonstrate to them good behavior versus bad behavior. And yeah, I can talk to them about good behavior, bad behavior, what's going to help them, what's not going to help them, but I can't force them to choose something they don't want to choose. I mean, the worst case scenario is I make them bottle everything up and hide away from me deep down somewhere inside of themselves and pretend that they're okay when they're not, and find solutions outside of themselves in places maybe I won't like and maybe won't be healthy for them. Or I can put up with the fact that maybe they're not making the choices I would like them to make right now. But then again, I'm not really making great choices all the time either. So who am I to judge? I mean, yes, I need to show them a better way. But the sign of a good leader is somebody who's willing to do the work with their people. Not somebody who's just going to say, do what I say, not what I do. I freaking hated that line as a kid. So I'm going to tell you from experience, because it's been really scary for me repeatedly over and over again, okay, to have to, as a single mother of 3 kids, to have to continuously, repeatedly leave everything and start over again and again and again. And when I say leave everything, I mean we're living out of my van basically. We do stay in places with beds and roofs and stuff, like hotels and whatnot, but we're traveling across Canada right now, trying to decide where we want to settle down. I don't even know where I want to settle down yet. So we'll see. But it's been interesting for me. I didn't even realize if you want to label it, but even my therapist said this. She's like, remember with your agoraphobia? And I'm like, yeah, I guess it really was agoraphobia. Each time, I'm not even going to, I shit you not, each time we go to a new hotel, a new town, I have to work through that fear of going out to somewhere unknown and somewhere new where I'm going to meet new people and have a new environment, because I'm the person who likes to have her environment mapped out in her head. I don't even like driving to grocery stores or restaurants unless I know the parking. Like, I like everything mapped out in my head ahead of time. I've been like this for probably since I was small, probably just to know my escape routes and stuff. Childhood abuse, and if you suffer severe abuse, you become very hyper vigilant when it comes to protection, escape routes, and places to hide. Anyways, so it's been really interesting. I had another moment last night where it kind of hit me, because we came to a new place and I realized, once we got here, there's a stupid thing online. When I book my hotels online through the app, it doesn't necessarily give me a spot to place that I have pets. So even though I think I booked the room, because under the room description it says pets are allowed, it's not necessarily that pets really are allowed. So then I have to deal with the uncomfortableness of double checking that I'm actually in a room that allows pets, and sometimes I remember to do that and sometimes I don't, and sometimes I don't do it because I'm afraid to do it because I don't want confrontation, which is silly because it's not really confrontation, it's just making sure they're putting me in the right room. again, I'm working on my social skills and my agoraphobia. So anyways, yeah, I think between that, realizing that maybe I haven't booked into the wrong room and not dealing with it head on appropriately, and then having to be in an environment that is not familiar for me because I'm a country bumpkin. I'm better off in the bush, way better off in the bush, and I'm getting to bigger and bigger cities, and there's more and more people and more cement and less ground and less trees and less birds and less animals, less everything. It's kind of sad, actually, for me. But yeah, and I'm planning on going to an even bigger city tomorrow. Hopefully I can find a place to stay. I'm trying to find a short-term rental. Whatever, we'll figure it out. But I want to say, though, is that it's not easy doing things alone, okay? But when you're in a place or in an environment, and because of my agoraphobia and my anxieties and me overcoming a lot of these trauma learned behaviors that I've, are ingrained into me so deeply that I can't even express to you how painful it's been to let them go. I'm uncomfortable all the time now. And sometimes I get tired because it's a lot to be uncomfortable all the time. Like, I don't have a home base, right? I don't have a place that's our comfort, that's our safety place. I've never, some people have a partner or friends that they can go to and they're like their safe place, their family. I don't even have that. So I need to find something that is kind of like a home base for at least for a little while, because I'm getting drained, constantly being uncomfortable. We have to balance being uncomfortable with security, right? And I don't have a good balance right now. But my point is I do understand that being alone is scary. I'm a single mom with 3 kids and 2 dogs, and I have no idea what my tomorrow's going to bring at all. Like, not even a little bit. Some days my healing journey is on point. I'm doing great. I'm not being triggered very much. My trauma responses are not that bad. Recently, my trauma responses were triggered pretty hard. So I had a lot of stuff that came up I had to let go of recently. But it's been good. And I think the more we do that, the easier it gets. So what I want to say is, if you're afraid to be alone, just know that, yes, sometimes it's going to suck. But if you can create yourself a place of security, a place of safety where other people can't bug you, harm you, interrupt your peace, do that. I miss that. I need that. And if you do have a special person in your life that does it for you, a friend, a partner, whatever, that's amazing. That's great too. But if you're like me and all you have is yourself, make sure you find yourself a place that, you can just be yourself and feel safe and loved and secure. And just know that it's actually better to be alone than it is to be around people who aren't accepting you for you, or who want to control you, or who want you to live under their authority. If you're an adult, you don't need to be underneath anyone's rule. And even as a child, I have a hard time. Like, don't get me wrong, there's rules, there's safety rules, there's, common courtesy, respect. Like, there's rules that my kids have to follow, but not to the point where, oh, you can't eat until supper time, or no, you can't watch that because it's not 3 p.m. or I don't know. Like, there's just a lot of things that a lot of other families do that I don't do. I want them to be able to learn how to think, learn how to choose, learn what consequences are. And I don't think that would happen if I did everything for them. Within reason, for their age, obviously, right? Common sense here. But yeah. So just know that sometimes it's okay to be alone. And when it gets uncomfortable, know you'll survive. It'll make you stronger. Each time I do this whole thing where I come and have to explore a new town, a new area, and force myself to go out and deal with whatever happens, because I have no idea what's going to happen that day, it gets a little bit easier to do it again. And each time I'm like, wow, I did it. I was actually strong. I even went into a full-blown, little autistic, I don't know, I was doing the prancy feet, and I was having a moment last night. It was bad. Because Odin wanted to go out in the middle of the night, and I just didn't want to go out in the middle of the night in case it was just bad. I felt awkward. But we survived. We made it. He's good. I'm good. Anyways, have a great day, guys.